Hi, I'm Vinay Bayer in conversation with Amit Chatterjee. Welcome to The Missing Link with Amit. Here we deep dive with setting up a context, getting to know the aspects of various lessons, challenges in the work scenarios, understand the requirements in terms of what is missing, and then we go about finding a fix for it. Welcome, Amit.
Hi, Vinay. Always nice to be together with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Amit, regarding today's topic, this probably everybody will resonate with respect to getting into organization. And most of us, when we sail through the organization in the initial phase and get into the mid-career, that's where the challenges start. And you start seeing the upper tier management much more clearly. At the same time, you understand the dynamics of the lower management and your peers in a much more significant way. And your personal life also, you're going through substantially a little more higher than what you used to. So with this situation of their 30s or their 40s, where they are trying to grab more roles and responsibilities, the biggest crisis in their career creep in. And how to navigate is something we would want to set it in terms of getting an understanding and deep diving into in this episode.
Great. A great topic. Yeah, a wide one for sure. Maybe for today we try to stick more into the organizational domain, and maybe we do another one where we expand it into the overall the life perspective of it.
I would want to understand from you first, what is mid-career crisis, like you said?
So like our, the thread on which we are doing this missing link, I think, one of the main missing links over here is that you come to a state where on one side you are very good at quite a few things, and that makes you also quite comfortable in what you are doing, playing the role in your organization as a manager mostly, right? And on the other side, you kind of stop thinking, what are you doing 2 or 3 years from now? So the missing link in this case, I would say, is that don't stop thinking, what are you doing 2 or 3 years from now? It's not about thinking too far ahead, okay? But it is about thinking 2 or 3 years ahead. And I say 2 or 3 years because the pace at which organizational change happens because of socioeconomics, because of global politics and shifting of forces, different market forces, organizations and the people who run organizations or manage organizations or are in organizations, they're hit with changes that is contrarian to their feeling of comfort, their feeling of, okay, yeah, I'm in a good position, I'm doing well, etc. So on a day-to-day basis, they may not see the change, but change is coming and change is hitting you. If you're not asking this question kind of periodically as to what am I doing 2 or 3 years from now? What kind of a role I want to be in? What kind of an organization I want to be in? So, and then you may be found complacent, at least by the context, if not by some individual somewhere.
How do you identify that you're getting into a mid-career crisis? Like, the sooner you identify, feel it's better, you have some time to work around it, and you're not getting into the bottleneck of the moment it hits you very hard that you are in a crisis. And you have to go about reacting to it, rather proactively working upon it and avoiding it.
I think, as the saying goes, when it's too calm, a storm is brewing somewhere.
Yeah.
So when you feel or find that everything is very comfortable, very nice, including the money you make, including the perks you enjoy, including the kind of home or apartment or house you live in, everything is fine. That's when something is brewing somewhere. Because you kind of stop looking around yourself. You're so much contented with what you have or what you are doing. you stop looking here and there. I'm not talking about looking here and there by way of looking for another job or another employer or something like that. I'm saying that just keeping abreast of what is happening. And anyway, for the kind of world we live in today, everybody blames the other to have lesser attention spans. But I think most of us are kind of affected by the kind of world we live in, which is, we can say, social media, we can say, the way work happens with largely transactional meetings. You meet your colleagues once in a blue moon, okay? And so you are kind of left to yourself. So the situation itself also, makes it difficult for you to know what's going on. And being probably the little bit older guy than others in this context, I would say that the habit of reading has definitely gone away. And I'm not saying just reading theory, I'm talking about reading about what's happening around you.
The hunger for it has come down.
So the curiosity, and I think the hunger comes from the curiosity. Are you curious anymore? And when you are very satisfied or happy with things going at your workplace or overall in your life, does it kill your curiosity? And I think everybody is equally intelligent, and I believe in that. But everybody is not similar in their curiosity. And of course, there are psychological aspects. Somebody is more curious about certain things, somebody is more curious about other things. But yet, when we feel too much, contented with the state of affairs that we are in, we kind of dig in our heels, and the default, I don't think that people actually talk to themselves or somebody else and conclude that, yes, I can simply just, sail, it's smooth sailing, nothing. No, it's not like that. It's like every day starts and ends, and the next one comes and ends, and there's a weekend, and you plan for a weekend out somewhere, and you are kind of, thinking more about, that resort we already have been, and let's think about some other place. Should we travel 6 hours, or can we find something? So your mind is occupied with enjoying what you have. Okay, and that's absolutely fair, and that's absolutely, you're right, no issues. So the point is, are you also keeping yourself abreast of what's going on? I mean, there is so much political change happening, ideological shifts happening, economic shifts happening. Whether you invest in the stock market or not, for example, are you reading about what is happening in the financial market? You don't have to be a financial genius. Just what you need to know. And most people who are at that level, at that stage of life, midlife or mid-career, they are knowledgeable people. They are not people who have to start from scratch, reading or knowing about anything. How many people read the daily financial newspaper, for example? I mean, so the situation you can blame, fine, but at the end the result is that you are living in a cocoon. Maybe a very comfortable cocoon, but yet it is a cocoon. If something is happening outside the cocoon and you're not aware of it, it's going to hit you one day.
More or less like consciously getting out of your comfort zones. Consciously trying and putting an effort in being in uncomfortable zones and having that
before
curiosity.
you get out of your comfort zone, I would say that, try to keep in touch with what normally does not come to you. Okay?
Sure.
Reading is one example. The another big example is, meeting people who are different to you. Whether different by the industry, different by the kind of roles, different by age groups, meet younger people or meet older people who are not from your set of things, And of course, we are not far from being birds in that way, but we don't have to really flock together. We can find differences. So either you discover differences in what's happening by reading or by interacting with people who are from a different set. So it helps you. It keeps you alive. It keeps you well informed. It keeps you also then kind of a little bit alert. I think, sometimes if you know about the storm a few minutes ahead, you can still do something. Sure. But if it hits you, then you're managing a crisis. And that you can call it midlife crisis, mid-career crisis, whatever, but it's a crisis. And when you're managing a crisis, you're hardly managing, you are actually reacting.
Reacting, exactly.
So instead of reacting to a crisis, why not be a little bit proactive?
Now that we look at mid-career crisis, somebody has gone through it. Now, for a person who has gone through it or who's going through it, how to come over that emotional burden that he holds within and what he suffers through and get back on track with respect to his career or a new map which has charted for himself or in the same organization where he wants to draft through and get over it.
It's difficult because it's like, you're waiting on a railway platform and the train has passed by. You cannot board really the same train again. I may sound a bit pessimistic, but I think that's the reality. So therefore, to my mind, it is important that you are watching for when is the next train. You are asking yourself, what's happening 2 to 3 years from now, every now and then. I can share the state that I was in my working life. Even after I became a managing director, and I was the managing director for 15, 16 years, but then I was not the managing director of the same entity, practically speaking, because that entity kept on changing. So if I was not alert, I always said to myself and to my management team, my colleagues with whom probably I spent more time, is that I don't want to have a situation when somebody knocks on my door at the middle of the night and say, Amit, that's it, you've done your job, great, thank you. No, I don't want to have. I want to ask myself that am I alive for, am I ready for what may happen or should happen? I was probably more engrossed with what should happen and then become an instrument or a party to that or a contributor to that. I think that's the best way, not because I could do it or I happen to do it the way life treated me, but yet I think in hindsight also, therefore it's necessary that people are individuals in comfortable situations where they feel they've done well and everything is going fine. They should keep asking themselves, what is the role, what kind of a company, what kind of a job I am in the next 2 to 3 years. Unless there is another set of example where people feel enough is enough, I'm not going to be in this rat race, etc., and I want to do something completely different. That's a different topic for another day. Okay, there are pitfalls to that side too, for example. But yet people who are in the organizational world, I believe that if you miss the train, then you are in trouble.
Once you have missed your train, say taking a short break, taking a sabbatical, reevaluating your goals and your values and repositioning yourself, trying out new opportunities, and you're in the course of change, you've accepted it and you want to move on. You've taken a short break, and will that work?
The metaphor rather I would use is not that once you miss the train, rather you have decided to leave the platform, okay, and prepare yourself for the next train. And that's what I would qualify as a metaphor for a sabbatical, okay. Not that you missed the train. You are still aware of the different kinds of trains coming, what the timings, etc., and what facilities they provide you and where are they going, the destinations they're going. You are aware. And that is when you decide, no, I leave the platform, sticking to the metaphor, and you prepare yourself for a train of a different destination, or a train with different facilities, whatever it is, obviously at a later date. So then you are still in a mode where you are alive to changes. You are preparing for something different. And you do it out of your own volition, own choice, that you leave the platform and you say, okay, fine, let me prepare for something new, something different that I would like to do. That's different from having missed the train completely unknowingly because you were probably, catching a nap in the waiting room.
Very well said. Now that we have hovered around this, somebody planning to take a next train, say probably I want to start something creative, or somebody has decided to move out and explore their hobby side of things.
If I may just interrupt, I think that's one way to handle midlife or mid-career crisis. That's one way to handle that. You know, go back from the platform and kind of re-strategize your life. So that's a very positive thing some people can do, and I know of people who have done it. That's not an example where you are in a crisis. You are actually already taken steps to, or rather, not have a crisis, not avoid the crisis, but not have a crisis. So that's proactive management of your life, I would say still.
But that dude comes with a lot of challenges, like
Yes, it
your
does. Sure.
in your words, like your nest may be too small for you to handle at that stage.
Yes.
So on that situation, what are the things which one can hold on to as a string to lift him through that situation?
Yeah, one is that you need to be clear about. It's like let me find an analogy from organizational world. When you change your strategy in business, okay, you don't start from zero. You have a strategy running. It's under execution, right? And this strategy that is under execution both have costs and have also results or rewards, right? So what you generate as resources, as rewards from the strategy under execution is what you use, if I borrow the word nest on this, to create your new strategy. Because your new strategy also will need resources. Where will that come from? So now I use that for a sabbatical kind of thing, or the metaphor we were using of that you walk out of the platform and you decide finally come back and take a different train for a different destination, okay? So, but you still use the resources, you have to use the resources that you have. And what do you have as resources? First thing, you have some time, with limits for sure. And that's where your financials come in. How much financials you have, what is the nest you have, so that you can fund yourself to through your sabbatical. That's one resource. Second is your knowledge, your competence, your skills. Now, to board a different train for a different destination, you have to also see to it that you are either you're going to use the same resources that you have, or you need additional resources. So most people, and as I always say that everybody is equally intelligent, we are not talking about people who are mentally challenged, for example. They do go away and they do invest in new competencies. Some go for new certifications, some go for management education, executive education. So they enhance their capabilities because the kind of train that they want to board now, going to a very different destination, for example, for their own purpose, because they want to reach such a destination, they have a vision for their life. And they prepare themselves for it. So you have to prepare. It's not that you just, get off and go to sleep and come back after some months or years and then board the next train available. No, it's not as simple as that.
For instance, there is a scenario where a person is fortunate enough to understand this in real time and then goes about addressing it. Mm-hmm. And he is fortunate enough to realize the parameters at which he has to work upon. He's dedicating more time and effect into it and start implementing things. And in the course of that, in your own words, catching the next train, be it in the organization or outside of it, how does he go about doing that? Like, what will be his strategies in terms of catching his next train and what measures he can take?
Your question had probably also the answer a little bit in that he re-strategizes, right? Now, one of the things that in re-strategizing he has to keep in mind is this, that he should still continue to do as good as he was doing or he can do in his current role, because that is the continuity. That is what will provide him with the resources to build up the strategy for the new train that probably he wants to get onto or he has to get onto. Because this one is not going anywhere, he realizes. And therefore, the other thing that the person has to be very conscious about is the resource which is time. Because he has a current role, current job, he has his family, he has his personal life, okay? So some things he has to change there. Somewhere he has to say, I stop doing something, because without stopping doing something, you don't find extra time. So that's about prioritization. What do you stop doing? You know, whether you can make your work a little bit more efficient so that you bring out some time, squeeze out some time from there to invest into re-education, new training, new certifications, etc. Or you find out time from your personal life part of it, because you have to stop doing something. You cannot do anything new just by deciding to do it, because time is a resource which is limited for any individual, for example. So you have to find certain things to stop, whether in your work side or make it more efficient, or on your personal side. Once you decide that this is what I will stop doing, for example, like maybe, you know, very nicely you were playing badminton for 3 hours in the evening. You said, no, maybe I play just for 1 hour. So you get 2 hours out of it. Maybe, you know, you were going for nice bike rides in the morning, and you say, okay, I go just once a week, not 3 times a week or 2 times a week. So you identify priorities, which are no longer the priorities, because your new priority is to build a strategy, build resources, including knowledge resources, competencies, certifications for the new train that you want to get onto in another 1 year or 2 years' time. So you have time, which is the time that you will get, you know, till you board this new train. But on a daily level, you don't have any more time. Within the time that you have, your waking hours, you know, you kind of analyze and say, okay, these are the 5 things I do, and you say, okay, out of these 5, 1 I stop doing. You cross it with a red line, okay? And then that slot is what you have as the time resource to invest into new things that you can do and should do and want to do, so that you find this new train, which will give you longevity in your career and also satisfaction going forward on a longer term.
Sometimes you feel the career crisis is the compensation, which is not equal to what your peers are taking or somebody in a competitive job is taking at your age. And sometimes that will be the reason for you to feel inferior or feel like you're in crisis once. The second dimension to it, it also comes with the opportunity of a role or a dimension of work which is very interesting, which is not equally paying, but it is very interesting for you to take up. But you're not getting
paid in the same level.
Exactly. But you're not understanding that you're getting into a crisis or not when you're accepting or rejecting either of it. So how to deal with these kind of scenarios?
See, for me to answer may sound quite easy, because doing it is much more difficult than just having an answer, but that's what I can do. See, the answer to this is, as I said, may sound quite simple. Whichever alternative has a longer lead time is the better alternative. So I think if I got your question right, you are talking about 2 alternatives. One, which pays well, relatively, but you realize that this is kind of static, not going to go anywhere. And as compared to that, you have an alternative which may not pay as well, but has a longer lead time, longer life for you, okay? And you can learn new things, you can do more things, and maybe, like a hyperbola, even the pay comes up, but after some lag time. So which one you choose is obviously not about the one that you're very comfortable in today, but has a short lead time, okay? The fuse is short over there, okay? It will end, but it pays you well today. So you make a choice not because of this is paying less or that is paying more, but because this has a longer lead time. But every state that you are in your career, okay, particularly after you have reached a managerial level, is having short fuses. And how short the fuse is, you get an answer, as I said in the beginning, when you ask yourself periodically, what am I doing 2 years from now? What am I doing 3 years from now? What kind of role I am in? Including you can ask what kind of CTC I will be in. If your answer is it is a lower CTC, it is your answer. You are in the industry, you are in the same domain, you have the experience, you have the expertise, You know what's going on over here. So you can make your choices before the crisis hits you like a truck.
That's very well put across. I mean, it's a very good dimension to look into when you told it so simplified. But otherwise, on a real-time situation, it's so much more heavier for one to decide upon.
I can share, obviously, without sharing any confidential part of my relationship with my few clients over the last some years. One anecdote that just I would share, that the gentleman was doing very well. Okay, he had grown, and he was just at the end of his 40s. He was earning very well, great family, everything nice, hunky dory. And then suddenly this company that he was working for was acquired. It was an American company. Another American company acquired it. Now, once the acquisition happened, due to the reorgs, okay, in the APAC region, the upper management decided they don't need that role that he was playing. Now, he had not done anything wrong, but he actually knew. He knew about this acquisition coming. Acquisitions get announced, and even before they are actually, executed, there is a lead time. Okay, he knew almost more than 6 months ahead of it, but he could not see that it may affect him.
Yeah.
But it did hit him, and when it hit him, within 15 days, he was out of a job, out of a very cushy, comfortable, well-paying job, including a company car and accommodation, everything. And his confidence was still at a very high level, but within another 2 months, he was feeling not just frustrated, actually scared.
True.
Okay. His lifestyle, everything. He had enough as a nest to last him maybe for more than a couple of years. But then he was just, reaching 50. He had to still had a good life, wanted a good life for himself, his family. He used to take care of his parents, both sides. He had to last for another 15 years. So finally, he actually made a choice to take up a role which was lesser than what he was in, and now he's stable. Probably he can again now grow into a better role, bigger role, but using this as a base. So as I always say that, and it's not I say, I mean, it's known by, I think, anybody who has had to change strategies, even for their own business, not only for their own life, that you develop your next strategy with the resources of the strategy that you are executing. So on an individual level, you are in a state of affairs. You use your current state of affairs to develop resources, including knowledge, including competencies, etc., so that you are prepared for the next stage. Okay. Yes, I know it sounds easy when you speak about it, but doing it, I also know it's tough. But as they say, when it gets tough, the tough gets going, right?
On a similar note, which I encountered, has one more factor which will affect them. Mm-hmm. Like usually in their mid-career, that's when you actually commit for something personally, like buying a new home or venturing out into something where you have your EMIs to take care of, where you're committed, and suddenly there is a downfall, like the example which you gave, and the overburden, which is from the next day onwards, you don't have a paying job, and you have to continue paying your EMIs. That is something which will add the burden of overthinking again, and again you will take, the kind of actions you take will be like not something which you would have otherwise done.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of the seriousness of what you're talking, but on a lighter vein, I've seen somebody close to me wearing a T-shirt which says that all I earn goes out in EMIs. So it has something written on this T-shirt, and. But that's the life. On one side, one may say that everybody lives. Everybody, has a middle name called EMI. Okay, Amit, I don't. I retired now some time back. Didn't have EMIs for a long time. But the point is this: that you must be. I know you are. You have lesser years behind you than I have, but yet you must have heard this old saying that you cut your cloth according to your cloth, right?
Yeah.
But this consumerist society that has happened, particularly in cities like Bangalore and bigger cities in India, because we have been growing for a long time. And Bangalore was just 47 lakhs when I shifted here in 95. Today it is 1 crore plus 47 lakhs. So it has grown like hell, and people have grown who were in the right place at the right time. True. But yet I think this consumerism that has hit has probably brought in another axiom, which is like, you buy your apartment depending on what the builder is trying to sell. So the bigger it is, the more plush it is, better location is what you hanker for. Now, this is normal human tendency because we are Maslow's prisoners. We are always, wanting more and more and more. But we are also intelligent human beings. So we ourselves have to somewhere say that how much is our cloth? Now, if you mortgage yourself, the Americans did it for years. They mortgaged post the 60s. Before the 60s, I think in the US, nobody was mortgaging the way they started mortgaging post 60s because the World War made them very rich. The stock market made them even richer, through 60s and 70s. So that became a habit, okay? And I'm scared if that kind of a habit is already set in our society. Maybe it does, maybe it does not. But the point is this, that it's financial planning, right? But most financial planners that you go to, they actually make you go into more EMIs because they can sell you then more loans and, stuff like that. So it depends on who you talk to, including who you talk to yourself, okay? You keep abreast of what's going on. And you always plan that you have a reserve because, everybody knows this saying, oh, change is the only constant, that is the reality. If it is so, and everybody knows it, now to handle change, you have to have a reserve. You need something that you can bank upon to address the change that is hitting you, if not already getting prepared for you, if you're smart enough, fortunate enough, like you referred earlier. So it actually sounds very simple again. As I said, speaking is easier than doing, but yet the point is that you don't mortgage your entire life, okay? Because whatever you are doing today is not going to last you for long, okay? Even including your knowledge. Somebody said, whatever brought you where you are is not enough to keep you there.
Exactly.
So what is the antidote? The antidote is you keep on asking, is it enough? Both sides. What I'm doing, is it enough? What I know, is it enough? Okay? So if your answer is no, I think it makes you luckier. You look for something, you have the curiosity, you read, you talk to people who have different views, who have different exposures, you find out what the hell is going on. And that's the only way.
Wow. All right, that's quite a deep dive into this, and we have seen some case studies, we have understood it in various dynamics. Just to sum it up, with respect to the missing link part of it and the fixes that you gave, we need to be realistic, one, to start with. Second thing is identify it early, be ready for the change.
Think a little ahead, that's all.
And always plan 2 to 3 years as the question, what I want to be. That is something which will help. And also plan yourself well. Do you really want to board a new train, or you are ready for the present train?
And talk to people who are different from you. Talk to people who are differently exposed. You will learn more, you will be prepared for what's going to hit you maybe tomorrow.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you so much, Amit.
Thank you so much, Vinay. Always great to talk to you.
Pleasure as well.
Please follow my channel on the YouTube going forward. Thank you. Thank you, Vinay.
Hit the bell icon, subscribe to the channel. Amit and Vinay signing out. Thank you.